So as if there aren't enough things going on happening on the farm here, our awning was all torn up. I was finishing up my chores there, I noticed a couple different things, and so I'll bring you along. If you see that your pigs are spreading the hay around, really all you have to do is rake it back in. As long as it's not been peed on and pooped on or whatever, just rake it back into a pile in the middle and they'll start eating on it again. What's waste with one breed is food for another. Generally I keep all those pigs together, and so there usually isn't much spent hay, but because I've had the Durocs separated for a little while because they're farrowing, so we'll let the breast chickens out. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. You can see I still have most of the pellets that I started with. It doesn't take much. All right, good morning. Previously, I mentioned that I needed to run a 14-3 wire up and over the ceiling in the living room here. And so I'm working on that this morning. And what I did was I cut a small hole. There's an existing wire running through here. I have already turned off this circuit. But this hole right here is not big enough for two wires to be easily fished through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish this one through, but I wanted to cut this opening so that I had plenty of access to grab the wire that's coming down here and fish it through so that I can come down to this box over here. Same thing up at the top there. I've got a small little fishing hole, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's this wire here, goes up and touches there, and it comes into the junction box. Now on this side, I wanted it to be a lot more open for two reasons. One, any additional bracing that I need to do, I need to have for the ceiling fan, I need to have free access up there. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to minimize the holes that I actually have to drill or cut into this drywall on this side. What I actually did, I was trying to do my fish tape through, and it was catching on insulation and everything. So what I did was I just took a small diameter, it's like a 1/4-inch PVC pipe or whatever that I had laying in the backyard, and I just pushed it up through along on the truss, and it popped out the top. And then from the top, I took my fish tape and pushed it down through the pipe. And so then that's what we have hanging out right here. So because I'm doing a lot of ladder work today, I'm not really trying to be concerned with the camera, but I did want to take that quick little break there and show you how it was that I fished this tape through. And so now what I'll do is I'll just pull this pipe out, and that'll leave the tape. So now I've just got my fish tape here, and what I'll do is I'll connect my wire up to that point up there, and then what I'll do is I'll take my fish tape and probably attach it to this end of this wire and pull it all the way up through there, and then attach it to a new wire running for this direction here and the 14.3 wire that I just fished up this way, and bring them both down through here after I drill out this hole up on top to be able to handle 2 wires instead of just the single wire. And then that will come down to, the power will come down to the junction box, and then from there I'll come up with a runner and put in my junction box for the porch light. More of that as I do it. I'll take another break and film some more progress later. All right, so we have successfully pulled through our first section here. The reason I'm doing it this way is that way I leave plenty of room for length to actually come up and over and down here for wiring in this 3-way switch here. So now what I'm going to do is I will cut the tape off of that piece, then taping fish tape onto this side. I'll remove these wire nuts and I'll pull the fish tape up and over, and then I will take that piece again, reattach it to the fish tape, but with a new piece of 14.2 to come down. So the 14.2 will be my power source down to here. This 14.3 will be my switch source between the two, and then eventually, like I said, I'll put another line going up to here for wiring in that porch light. Let me get to doing more of this stuff here. So as if there aren't enough things going on happening on the farm here, yesterday we spent the day in town with my mother-in-law while she's here visiting, and came back to our awning was all torn up, so I actually had to remove it, and I'll show you what happened. Of course, we left it extended and it was calm in the morning, and then by the afternoon it was rip roaring, heavy winds. Wasn't forecasted to be heavy winds, so it's our fault for leaving it out. But basically the drive head unit broke at the wheel where it connects to the awning roller, and it broke on the bracket where it attaches to the extension arm. So I get to find the parts. I was looking last night after it happened, and this is an older model, so, and it's a Lippet LCI brand. I don't know if those are completely interchangeable with the newer designs. If anybody knows that, feel free to leave me a comment down in the comment section. I don't have any plans to immediately replace that, so there'll be a little bit of time for you guys to weigh in on that one, hopefully, and give me some tips, pointers, where to buy it, what to buy, any of that stuff. So all that would be appreciated. All right, so this one, because we have the wire that's going to be leading and we're pulling the fish tape through, have to make sure that this side, the pull side on this one, is going to be the wire side. Make sure that's nice and tight, and don't be stingy with this tape. Electrical tape is only like $1 a roll, so the worst thing you can have happen in a situation like this is that these two separate somewhere in the wall and you have to find it. This has happened to me early on when I was working on my own houses and stuff like that, and fortunately it was up in the attic crawl space, so I was able to find where the wire was. But I know in this situation I don't have access, so I'll just have to start cutting drywall and find anywhere that it ends up. separating, so don't skimp on the tape. We've got our hot wire here. We've got our 14-3 wire here. I've got these stapled loosely, and I don't know if that shows up, but I've got, here's the outline of that other box for the exterior light. I need to cut that out. Before I do that, I'm gonna go back up on top of the ladder and pull any of the slack out and wire this junction box up so that I've got power coming down here. Not gonna mess with videotaping that, just because I'm gonna make sure my focus is on what I'm doing up there and trying not to fall off the ladder and not worry about whether I'm getting the shot or not. I almost forgot about this wire because I changed my mind on the other end so that I didn't have to fish as many wires through top plate there. So I've got my no-nail plates up there. We're stapled in. We've got our power coming in over here, although the circuit is still off. And then that's going to give us power to our travelers, and it's going to give us power to the switch that will go up here for the exterior light. So same with before, I'm just going to fish this 14-2 wire up and through there. I also need to drill a hole in the OSB that's on the other side of this and pull these wires through once I get the length cut. So I'll run that 14-2 up and over, and then we'll cut both of those to length, fish them through the hole, and come down over here into this gang box over here for the three-way switch. We've got both of our 14-3 and our 14-2 that are going to run down to this three-way switch, and we've got the fish tape is running up through the bathroom and over, and I drilled a hole in the OSB right here going down. So what I'll do is I'll tape both of these wires to the fish tape, and then I'll pull that all the way up and over, and then once I'm in the bathroom ceiling, it's open, I can fish it down through the top plate here and down to that junction box. So I ran my wires down into the gang box here. So we've got our traveler or our three-way wire, and this is what's going to go to the light switch itself, or the junction box up in the ceiling to control the fan. So we've got power coming down, traveler going over, and then a 14 2-wire going back up to the junction box. So then here what I did was I actually put this up against the stud where I wanted it to be, traced it, I drilled some holes, and on this side I wasn't really sure exactly where the line was going to be. I kind of had to freehand it, so I didn't drill as many holes over on this side, but I did on the outside where I knew the shape was. And because I'm up against the stud, I won't be cutting it with a jigsaw from the inside, so I came out and lined this same box around the outside of those holes and drew another line. And so what I'll do is I'll just cut this out with my jigsaw, and we'll have a hole for the light junction box for the porch light here. All right, so I've got the porch light wired up. It's hardwired in right now. I don't have the switches or anything like that. I had to run into town and get a couple longer machine screws because the ones that came with this light weren't long enough. But we got it operating. Now we actually can see out in the front, and it's motion sensor, so if anybody moves anywhere around the front of the house, it'll trigger that. And the next phase for this project, at least, is going to be to put the insulation in between the studs there and put drywall all around the living room there. Then I'll actually come through and install the switches. So the fan that we have wanted to install has been on back order, not available for a couple months now. So I'm kind of waiting on that one before I do the rest of the ceiling stuff and the three-way switch, but there's always something else to do. So catch us on the next episode as I do, I don't know what, but it'll be something along the house or animals or whatever. Until next time, God bless.